بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله بالأرضين جل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Last session, after talking about some aspects of how the studies, we talked about some of the etiquettes of Mubāḥatha. And I would like to mention what Shaykh Al-Thani in Munyat al-Murid says about Mubāḥatha and then continue. You are familiar with the book Munyat al-Murid. So there are different sections in this book. In the section which is about the etiquettes of the muta'allim, the learner. Okay? As-Sabi'u wal-'Ishrūn. Number 27 is about Mubāḥatha. ينبغي أن يذاكر من يرافقه من مواظب مجلس الشيخ. Okay? He says, Assalamu alaikum. The learner, muta'allim, is expected to discuss, to do mudhakara with those who are his classmates, who are careful about the teaching of the Sheikh, in the sense that they are regular. Because it's very important, your partner in Mubāḥatha should be someone who is regular. If someone sometimes comes, sometimes doesn't come, sometimes doesn't study, it's not helpful. You should try to find the best students and ask them to do Mubāḥatha with them. من مواظب مجلس الشيخ, those who are very careful and regular in attending the lectures. What should they discuss? The mudhakara should be about what? This discussion. بما وقع فيه من الفوائد والضوابط والقواعد وغير ذلك. They should discuss every point, every rule, every detail which were mentioned by the Sheikh, by the Ustad, by the teacher. وَيُعِيدُ كَلَامَ الشَّيْخِ فِيمَا بَيْنَهُمْ. They should review and repeat what Sheikh said among themselves. Okay? As if they are reconstructing the class again. One person becomes the teacher, they all listen. فَإِنَّ فِي الْمُذَاكَرَةِ نَفْعًا عَظِيمًا. There is great benefit in Mubāḥatha. So it's not only Sheikh Shomali who says this. Shaykh Al-Thani is saying this. If you don't listen to me, at least listen to Shaykh Al-Thani. قُدِّمَ عَلَى نَفْعِ الْحِفْظِ. He says Mubāḥatha is even more important than memorization. Imagine, for example, you just 1 hour try to memorize. But memorization doesn't necessarily help you with better understanding. Yeah? Mubāḥatha, as we said, helps you to understand better, to deepen your understanding, helps you to be able to communicate, yeah? To express yourself, to be able to ask good questions, to be able to answer questions properly. Also helps you with memorization. Because when you do Mubāḥatha, you remember better. But if you just memorize without mubāḥatha, is not as good as mubāḥatha. When should we do mubāḥatha? وَيَنْبَغِي الْإِسْرَاعُ بِهَا بَعْدَ الْقِيَامِ مِنَ الْمَجْلِسِ. They should be quick in doing mubāḥatha when they stand up from majlis of dars, from the session of teaching. Okay, when they finish and they stand up and go, soon they should have mubāḥatha. قبل تفرق أذهانهم وتشتت خواطرهم. Before their mind is scattered and their memories are lost, they should do mubāḥatha. Because there are many things that even if you have taken note, you cannot register. If you have fresh memory, you remember lots of details. Otherwise, you don't. So before your mind is scattered and divided and distracted, you should have mubāḥatha. وَشُذُوذِ بَعْضَ مَا سَمِعُوهُ عَنْ أَفْهَامِهِمْ. And before some of the things that they have heard deviates and goes away from their understanding. ثُمَّ يَتَذَاكَرُوهُ فِي بَعْضِ الْأَوْقَاتِ. Then they should do these discussions in some times. فَلَا شَيْءَ يَتَخَرَّجُ بِهِ الطَّالِبُ فِي الْعِلْمِ مِثْلُ الْمُذَاكَرَةِ. There is nothing like mudhakara that you can gain from for your graduation or for your learning. Nothing is like mubāḥatha. فَإِنْ لَمْ يَجِدِ الطَّالِبُ مَنْ يُذَاكِرُهُ. If he doesn't find someone with whom he can discuss, you say, I don't have anyone to discuss. I told you Akhwash solution, yeah? ذَاكَرَ نَفْسَهُ وَنَفْسَهُ. At least do mubāḥatha with yourself. Or do mubāḥatha with a statue. Or record yourself. Put the camera on and do. Of course, it's better to find someone that can engage and but at least a minimum. وَكَرَّرَ مَعْنَى مَا سَمِعَهُ. At least for yourself, repeat what you have heard and say it. And then he says, تَكْرَارُ الْمَعْنَى عَلَى الْقَلْبِ كَتَكْرَارِ اللَّفْظِ عَلَى اللِّسَانِ. Even if you are not able to say it in your heart, review it, because even reviewing in heart is helpful. When you review Assalamu alaikum by your tongue is helpful for memory. Even if you review it in heart is helpful. But if you say it is better, because then you use the memory of hearing as well. Yeah? If you can read it and hear it, is better than just thinking about it in your heart. وَقَلَّ أَنْ يُفْلِحَ مَنْ اقْتَصَرَ عَلَى الْفِكْرِ وَالتَّعَقُّلِ بِحَضْرَةِ الشَّيْخِ خَاصَّةً ثُمَّ يَتْرُكُهُ وَيَقُومُ وَلَا يُعَاوِدُهُ. There are very few people who are able to just think when the lecture is going on, when Sheikh is sitting and teaching, they are thinking, but they don't do anything afterwards. He says, قَلَّ أَنْ يُفْلِحْ. The possibility of success for such people is very little. Even if you are the most intelligent person, just sitting in the class is not enough. Okay? I am not saying this to discourage you from coming to the class, because even If you don't learn anything, at least you get the sawab of coming to the class. But I'm saying, by this you cannot become alim. Just by sitting in the class. By sitting in the class you get sawab. But if you want to be a scholar, if you want to really learn, listening once is not enough. Then 28, this was 27. الثامن والعشرون أن تكون المذاكرة المذكورة في غير مجلس الشيخ. That discussion should not be when Sheikh is teaching. Few people are talking, what are you doing? We are doing mubāḥatha. No. It should not be when the majlis is going on. You know, majlis means session. Yeah? أن تكون المذاكرة المذكورة means the above mentioned مذاكرة should not be in the same session. أن تكون في غير مجلس الشيخ. Okay? Oh, فيه, if it is in the same place, بعد انصرافه, after Sheikh is leaving. بحيث لا يسمع لهم صوتا. So that Sheikh doesn't hear when they are doing mubāḥatha. Why? Because sometimes, for example, might be impolite. It's, you know, they want to have very friendly discussion. Sometimes maybe, for example, someone's, because in mubāḥatha you can, for example, say, why Sheikh said this, why, you know. So it's better if it's not in the presence of Sheikh. Unless Sheikh himself says this. Once one of our teachers did something nice. He asked us to record our mubāḥatha and give it to him. And he was, you know, listening and saying whether we do proper mubāḥatha or not. It's good. So sometimes Sheikh maybe wants to check. But he says it's better if he doesn't hear, because there might be then a matter of impoliteness, especially if they want to repeat what Sheikh said. You know, maybe it's not very polite. Of course, it depends on how you do it. He himself says that sometimes Sheikh may say, you should do this, you know, to repeat this. So, these are two little section in the etiquettes of the learners in Munyat al-Murid that I thought I should share with you for mubāḥatha. So, let's go back to our own discussion. So we said one of the aspects of Islamic traditional studies is that you do it as a team. You have teacher that we said you trust, you believe in him. You have friends, because friends are very important. Sometimes maybe because of friends, we were going to a lecture so that we are not alone, you know. For example, maybe there's a teacher, because in main houses in traditional way, now it's more kind of formalized, but you were choosing your own teacher. But sometimes you have to consider, if I go to this teacher, maybe my partners won't come. So we should make a decision together. We are 3-4 people that we do mubāḥatha with each other for example, several years. So we decide together that we all go to this lecture, to this teacher. Okay? So it's a kind of teamwork. We study together, we decide teacher together. And the other thing is that we said mubāḥatha should be not very late. Before the next lesson, you should do mubāḥatha. You should go to mubāḥatha while you are prepared, as if you want to teach. Imagine you have a class and you want to teach. How much you prepare yourself? Also, it should not be decided in advance who is going to present, because then the other people may not prepare themselves. All should come prepared. Then at the beginning of the session, we decide by Qur'an or something who is going to present. Or sometimes you can divide. Say half of it you say, half of it I say, for example, or vice versa. So everyone should come prepared. And you should be patient. Sometimes, people say, for example, we just had the lesson yesterday or today, so we don't need to mention everything. No, you have to be patient and repeat everything. Because many times, those things that you thought you have understood, when you want to present, you realize that you didn't understand. So it's very important to say everything as if the people who are listening to you have not been to this class. You should assume that they are students for you, although they are classmates. But you should explain everything. You should be open for discussion. But as I said, not for the sake of proving yourself or saying you don't understand, I understand better than you. No, for the sake of understanding haqq. We have many hadiths about the necessity of avoiding mira. What is mira?
Stand on their point.
A kind of quarrel and arguing for the sake of arguing. Rahimallahu imra'an taraka al-mira'a walau kana muhiqqan. May Allah's mercy be upon the person who stops mira even if he is right. Sometimes, for example, you say something and the other person, the other party, doesn't accept. Okay, you explain it again. It doesn't accept. Maybe another time you try. What if he doesn't accept? Leave it. Because maybe there is a problem in you or in him, or maybe the time is not appropriate.
Communication.
If after 2 or 3 times trying to explain, the person doesn't agree, it's better to stop. Especially if it is going to become an issue, for example, between husband and wife, between, 2 partners in business. Because the more you repeat, the more difficult it becomes to find the haqq. Because, imagine if for 15 minutes, 20 minutes I have been saying that you are wrong. Then after 15 minutes, how can I accept that you are right? After 2 minutes, I can accept more easily than after 15 minutes. So, many times, people's ego gets involved. So, this is why I always say to people who are married, when you have disagreement, once, twice, 3 times, talk about it. If you don't come to agreement, leave it. Because the chance of coming to agreement is less. Another time, you can try it. But again, once, twice, 3 times, finished. So it's like rounds of discussion, not, continuous discussion. Even sometimes, countries, when they negotiate, they don't say, okay, we sit here for 1 month and we finish. 1 round, then they leave it, another round. So, mira is not good. In mubāḥatha, this is very important. No one should insist on his opinion or her opinion. And this is a great moral exercise, a spiritual exercise, that you are only interested in truth. Then, maybe in your mubāḥatha, you come up with some new ideas. It's better if you have chance to check this with your teacher. Maybe this new idea is very good idea, So your teacher will be happy, say, Alhamdulillah, I have students who do mubāḥatha and also they come up with new ideas. So your teacher will be very happy. But maybe these new ideas are misunderstandings. You know? Especially sometimes, you know, say, oh, the teacher made mistake. I have now better understanding. One of the beauties of Hawza studies is that there is always communication between teacher and student. Okay?
Yes.
In the class, after class, you can ask questions. Now when the numbers increase, of course difficult, you know, there are ulama that maybe few hundreds of people go to the lecture. But in the past was not that many. But still this ulama, normally what they have 1 hour, for example, at home they sit, talaba can go and discuss, or they have few senior students that people can refer to them. For example, some maraja have few senior students that people go to them and ask questions. Anyway, it's very important to raise the issues that you think teacher made mistake or you think you have come up with new ideas. Check it with someone who is higher than you, either the teacher or a senior student. And if there is something that you totally didn't understand, of course you have to ask.
The problem is sometimes you send an email to a teacher, you don't
Yes.
need to reply.
Yes.
That's been my experience, and I think
Yeah.
that is sent.
So a senior student,
You'll be sent to a
Because-
teacher.
because sometimes the number is
Yes,
a lot,
yes,
and you know, for teacher might be busy.
yes.
So first of all, mubāḥatha.
Oh, yes.
Don't send any email to teacher before mubāḥatha.
Oh, yes.
Okay? Because many issues you can discuss it and solve it yourself. If in mubāḥatha you didn't solve it with senior student, someone who always gets A,
That's correct, yes.
if still that person cannot help you, then you can raise it with the teacher. So in this way, we can reduce the
Indeed.
work demand. Okay. This is about mubāḥatha. Another thing that I want to discuss, inshallah, is about a study. What we say, you know, muṭālaʿa. What are the etiquettes of studying? One of the requirements of Hawza studies, especially for some subjects, is first of all to have a teacher. You can teach yourself, but it's very limited, and there is great chance of confusion. Normally, great ulama had great also teachers. Yeah? It's not easy just to teach yourself, you know. You have to have as much as possible teacher. But the teacher is not going to make you alim. You have to be responsible for your study. Even if you go regularly to the class, this is not going to make you alim. You have to be in control of your study. You should have plan for your study. What do you want to achieve? To what extent you want to learn? Not that, you know, I don't know what is fiqh, I don't know what is mantiq, why we study fiqh, why we study mantiq, what is this book? I only look at the board, they told me go to this room. What is going to happen to you in that room? You don't know. What are you going to learn? What comes next? No, you should have a clear vision why we study these subjects. What is the significance of each of these sciences? What are the major levels, books? So, you should have clear understanding of what you are doing. And check yourself. Am I learning? Am I improving or not? You know, when you learn a language, what do? You always check yourself. If you think that after a few months you are the same as before, So you realize there's a problem in your learning. So you have to always evaluate your study, assess your study. Of course, we have exams. Teachers can tell us based on exam, but there is a way of evaluation that you can only do, because maybe there is one exam every semester, or I don't know, maybe more, but you can more regularly and frequently assess yourself. You have come for a sacred purpose to Hose. Yes? For sure you have come for a sacred purpose. But just having a sacred purpose and good intention is not enough. Check, am I moving towards my ideals or not? If not, I have to work harder. If I not, maybe I have to change my style. Maybe I have to change my partner in Mubāḥatha, for example. Maybe I have to allocate more time. Okay? So what I'm saying is basically be concerned about your study. Be conscious. Don't let things just happen and after some time you open your eyes, you see, you have been 4 years, 5 years in the Hose, but you haven't achieved that much. You have to be in control and monitor your study. I don't know if you have a particular interest in Islamic studies or not. Sometimes people have more interest in, for example, Akhlaq. Some people have more interest in fiqh. Some people have more interest in philosophy. This is helpful, but also you have to be careful. Because sometimes it helps them with more concentration on those subjects that they like, but when they go to other subjects, they say, boring, I don't want to learn this, it's waste of time, my interest is something else. Or for example, some people find it difficult to learn Arabic, because they say, we don't want to learn Arabic, I want to learn Quran, I want to learn Aqaid. And because Arabic is a tool, so sometimes it can be for some people difficult. What is important to know is Islamic studies is a kind of, we can say, package, it's a kind of whole, which is very well interconnected. You cannot say, I want to be expert in the field of Aqaid, and I don't bother about my Arabic, for example. Arabic is important for any subject, because in the end of the day you want to refer to the Quran and Hadith and read the books of ulama. Whether you like it or not, Arabic is the tool. Subject of Islamic studies. Or for example, you say, I'm not interested in fiqh, for example, I'm interested in philosophy. Even if you are not interested as your first subject in fiqh, still you have to study fiqh and usul al-fiqh, because fiqh and usul al-fiqh give you the skills for analyzing a text. Where are you going to learn linguistic principles? Where are you going to practice them? It's in fiqh and usul al-fiqh. Even if you want to specialize in philosophy, still you have to learn fiqh and usul to some extent. Especially because we, no matter whether we go to fiqh or to aqaid or to kalam or to philosophy or to irfan, for us the main source is always a scripture, is always Quran and Hadith. Even if you are doing to philosophy, you have to have good understanding of Quran and Hadith. Look at Mullah Sadra. Mullah Sadra was not someone who just studied mantiq and logic and philosophy. Mullah Sadra studied fiqh, tafsir, he has tafsir, he has commentary on Al-Kafi, he has tafsir of Ayah Nur, for example, one volume on just Ayah Nur. Because Allama Tabatabai, he was not just a philosopher, he was a mujtahid. He has books on philosophy, but he has also commentary on Kifayatul Usul. He's a mufassir. He has also commentary on Biharul Anwar, some volumes of it. Look at Mullah Muhsin Faiz Kashani. He has books on philosophy, Irfan, Aqaid, Hadith, Al-Wafi, Tafsir, Tafsir Safi, Asfa, Musaffa. He has at least 3 complete sets of tafsir. So these are subjects that you cannot separate from each other. One of the things that happened in some places was the idea of introducing specialized courses in some houses, so that people who go to their house or institute, from the beginning they specialize. Even their BA is one subject, MA another. And I say, anyone who goes to house, there is certain level of Islamic studies that he has to go through, no matter what subject later he wants to follow. You cannot say from the first year I want to specialize. Good number of years of Islamic studies is necessary for anyone who goes to house, because you want to become a scholar of Islam. Yeah? You cannot say to yourself that I don't want to know ahkam, I don't want to know tafsir, I just want to know philosophy. This is not what you can be accepting for yourself, and it's not what people expect from you. You cannot go to people and say, after a few years of studying Hose, I don't know any ahkam, I don't know any aqaid. Just ask me, for example, about philosophy. It's not possible. We have to have good understanding of these sciences, and they very much help each other, they very much support each other. After, inshallah, good number of years, then you can focus more on one subject, but not from the beginning. So please study all your subjects properly, even if some of them are not the most interesting ones for you. Okay? Because you are, mashallah, rational people. You are adults, you are not children. You are adults, you are rational. A rational person, when knows something is good for him or her, does it. It's not a matter of enjoying or not enjoying, or immediate pleasure or not pleasure. Sometimes we do things that we may not enjoy immediately, but for our long-term interest is very important. So, a study has to be kind of holistic. Okay? Islamic studies has to be holistic. But in addition to the classes that you have, you can have your extra studies. For example, you love history. In Hose, maybe you have only 2 hours, 4 hours. Okay, in weekend, in summer, in holidays, study books on history. That's good. But not that, when you have classes on other subjects, you don't study them and study only history. All the subjects, you should study them properly, but you have lots of extra time. Unfortunately, if you imagine out of 365 days, how many days we study? It's less than half, much less than half. In universities now, they have normally 24 weeks. Yes? And 24 weeks, it's not that 5 days a week they study. Maybe 2 days a week, 3 days a week they study. So altogether is about 70 days, 80 days, which is about 1/5 or 1/4 maximum of the year. We study more. We have 16 weeks, but it still is not enough. So you have lots of holidays, lots of breaks that you can use them for your review and for self-study. We used to study many things in summer because you have a few months summer. You can study. You can, if you have teacher, take lessons, or you can teach someone. Especially if there's a big gap. Imagine, for example, 3 months, 4 months. There's gap. Then it takes you 3-4 months to go back to where you stopped and ended the study. Yeah. So imagine, for example, if you stopped in June, July, August, half September, you didn't study. Then 15th of September, for example, you want to start. It takes you lots of time to again reach the point that you ended. So a study should not be stopped. I think I told you this story about Sheikh Ansari rahmatullah alayhi, who was genius, Sheikh Ansari. But it is said that he used to say to his students, if possible, ask me questions any day other than Saturday. Because Thursday and Friday are holidays. So these 2 days of holidays were making him not in the best position. So he was feeling that Saturday he's not as sharp as Sunday or Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. Although it's just 2 days. For us, sometimes maybe 1 week we don't study anything. Maybe 1 month we don't study anything. Maybe when the hose finishes, you close the book, put it on the shelf, goes, after a few months then you open it again. This is not working. I don't think anyone with this attitude becomes a scholar. Al-ilmu ma lam tu'tahi kullak lam yu'taka ba'dah. If you don't give to it all of you, doesn't give you part of it. Never gives you all of it.
Who is this hadith?
I don't know.
Ma'soom?
I don't know, but it's a common saying, I don't know. But it's a truth. You can never get, because ma utito min al-ilmi illa qalila. You can never get all of the ilm. But if you don't dedicate all your time and energy to knowledge, you cannot be given even part of it. Al-ilmu ma lam tu'tahi kullak lam yu'taka ba'dah. Okay? So, this is another thing that we should observe in our study. Then, how should we study? For example, in my daily plan, I should study, for example, from 8 to 9 aqaid. How should I study? From 8 to 9, for example, I have to study. What is the best method of reading, taking notes, and studying? Inshallah, we discuss next week. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.